soul travelers, and welcome back to my channel. This is where I share information I have obtained and share my experiences with you to help you grow on your spiritual path as I continue to learn and grow on mine as well. Okay, now today we're going to be talking about manifesting. A lot of people focus on manifestation methods, such as scripting, the 369 method, affirmations, just to name a few, vision boards, all of that. Today, what I want to discuss with you is the actual spiritual science behind manifestation. Okay, it's also known as energetic alchemy. Because without understanding this about the manifestation process, any of those methods won't be a whole lot of use to you. So, I want to discuss that today. Okay. So, the first thing and the most important thing to understand about manifesting, that it is simply the outer reflection of our inner selves. It is how things show up here, from the other side or from inside. Okay, so in other words, the physical world around us is pretty much a huge mirror that shows our inner reflections. Okay, I like to think of manifesting as converting energy. All right, or as I said earlier, what we call energetic alchemy. Now I'm using my notes as usual, so you see me look down. Okay. Energy can be converted from one form to another, because everything is energy in the universe, as we all know. So that is all we're doing when we manifest, is converting energy, guys. We manifest all the time. We do it daily by default, meaning we do it unintentionally, even when we're not trying. Okay, whatever energy or vibration that we're putting off from inside and from our subconscious, it's going to show up in our external world through our circumstances and in our environment. Okay, when we intentionally convert this energy, we gain the ability to create our own worlds, also known as manifesting. Okay, what inspired me to do this video is one night I received a download. It was earlier this week, and I just heard the words converting energy. And when it occurred to me to view manifesting in this way, it made it seem so much easier for me myself to wrap my head around. That's when I just decided I just had to share it. Because basically, when I make these videos, I convert my thoughts to words on paper because I write. I'm a writer. Okay, and then I convert those words into these videos. This is also how we can think of manifesting money or any other thing that we desire. We can literally convert our ideas as a form of energy into money or anything else. But we must have the right feeling behind it, okay? Because our subconscious is what dictates our world. It is 95% of what controls our world, okay? And the subconscious, it doesn't hear words or anything like that. It understands emotion, okay? So let me give you an example. The very same night that I received this download about converting energy, my husband and I, we go to the laundromat, and as soon as we pull up, we get out and we realize that we have a very flat tire and it is losing air like extremely fast. Okay, naturally, it's frustrating, and my husband is just like really upset. He calls AAA. They inform us that we don't have any more free roadside assistance calls on our accounts. We've exhausted them for the year already. We tend to have issues with tires. And so they tell us it's going to cost us $85 for them to come out. Now, although we had the money to cover it, my husband was still very frustrated, as this was like an extra expense that we did not count on, guys. So at this point, he just becomes even more irritated and more angry. And I tell him, wait, don't think like that. Instead, let's just be grateful that we have the extra money to cover it and that we're not stuck here at a laundromat late at night, okay? And he stops and he goes, you're right. You're right. And he starts to calm down. Um, and while he's calming down, he texts his friend to like basically vent about the situation. And this buddy of his, being super generous, he offers to send him $200 to help out. Now remember that the roadside assistance is $85. So by catching a flat, guys, my point is by catching that flat tire and choosing to have gratitude instead of feeding the anger and the frustration, we were able to convert that energy into a benefit. Okay, we actually profited from catching a flat tire because we chose to have gratitude. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Are you following? Okay. Remember, what you put out is what shows up in your experience, and that is how manifesting works, whether by default, meaning unintentionally, or whether it's on purpose. So this is why we must be conscious of our thoughts, and that's not to say that we should never or won't ever have negative thoughts, because it's only natural. But the trick is when we have these thoughts or thoughts that are counterproductive to our desires, we must shift our thoughts consciously, and we must practice this. And the more we do this, the easier it becomes, and eventually we reprogram our subconscious beliefs, those limiting beliefs. And as I mentioned earlier, it dictates 95% of our lives. It's controlled by our subconscious. Okay, so it's those programs that's running in the background that blocks our manifestations by determining our thoughts, which gives birth to our emotions, and then by extent gives birth to our actions. So we must consistently and intentionally shift our thoughts so that our thoughts begin to inspire new emotions. And eventually our subconscious will get that message. Okay, so that's how those methods that I was talking about works earlier. The method themselves, the writing it down, the saying it aloud, the vision boards, that's not what makes it actually work. What it is that when you are doing these vision boards or you are constantly repeating these affirmations, okay, the subconscious is programmed by repetition, and the more it hears it, the more it sees it, it begins to change the way you feel about it. It goes from that limiting belief that I don't believe I can really have that to I do have this, I do have that, I will have this, I will have that, and you start to respond emotionally different. Okay, and the subconscious gets the message. Okay, because no matter how many rituals we do or manifestation methods we use, without that energy or intention or feeling behind it, we will not be able to properly manifest. And this the same goes for magic, because manifesting is magic. That's how magic works. If the magic spells, if you're a practitioner, if you're not, doesn't matter, same thing. It's only as strong as the practitioner. Okay. Of course, and there are these methods to help us, and as I explained how they work, but they work by helping us to shift our thoughts and shift our energy. Now, a lot of you may be thinking that, hey, I have desire to attract wealth, but it just isn't working for me. I have this desire. Why isn't it working? Okay. Well, I used to have the same thoughts, and every now and then I still struggle with those moments, guys. Okay. So let me explain something in hopes that you understand where I'm going with it. When we're feeling the lack of something, okay, and we're focusing on the fact that we do not have it yet, we're sending out the energy of lack, the energy of not having. Okay, and so we convert it to more of lack and more of not having. You may think you're focusing on your desire when you're actually focusing on the fact that you don't have your desire filled. I hope you can see the difference there. You must focus on gratitude for what you do have, which will help you get into being familiar with the feeling of expressing gratitude for the thing you don't have yet. You must express this gratitude as if it is already yours, okay? That is it, as if it is already done. That is how you match the frequency, the vibration of what it is you want. And it's common for us to be met with resistance because of our limited belief systems that we've all hold deep in our subconscious that we've been programmed with. So, like, I don't deserve that, or you may not consciously think these things, but in your subconscious, okay? Or your relationship with money. If you grew up in a house where money was very limited all the time and you were being told no because we don't have money for this, we don't have money for that, that becomes part of your subconscious belief system, okay? So when this resistance happens, we can also shift our thoughts by consistently choosing to focus on something that is going well for us, okay, and have gratitude for that. And many of us have, probably all of us, have been programmed to believe that when we have an issue, we need to worry about it and work at it until it's solved. Well, that's not so, because when we approach it that way, we just create more worry and more work. Okay, so when we focus on the one or two things that are going great for us in our lives, we generate that gratitude and we generate the good energy, which we can convert into good things, and then it'll come back to us. Okay, so we send it out, it comes back, and the next thing you know, we have an idea or we get inspired with a solution for the other stuff that's been going wrong. Okay, or the stuff that just hasn't shown up yet. As you may have noticed, a lot of what I share is based on experiences I have, okay? And when I started this channel, my intention was to teach by experience and to spread knowledge and information and to help other people, and also to learn by teaching. Okay, and it's like the more videos that I make, the more content or experiences to use for content shows up in my life. And then the more in tune I become, because I'm like, hey, I can teach them this, I can teach them that, and then, then more ideas come to me, or I learn something new. And I convert these experiences into content. And then I receive more experiences and downloads, and then I learn some more, and it just keeps on going. I know I just repeated myself there, but what I'm trying to say to you is that, I'm successfully manifesting learning through teaching. I'm starting to achieve that. I'm saying to you is, this works like a back and forth dance. You put out the good energy, it comes back. Put it out, it comes back. Okay? Right before Christmas last year, I lost my job. I was upset for days. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute. Haven't I been manifesting not having to work and being able to dedicate time to finding my purpose, dedicate my time to spirituality, and have more time with my husband, with my family, and my kids? And in that moment, I began to shift from being upset to feeling grateful for this opportunity, rather than focusing on the fact that I just lost my job and I didn't know where I was going to be getting money from. Okay? My husband's acting and modeling had started to look like as if it was going somewhere and taking off, and it is, but it's not yet paying off, not big yet anyway. And he told me, just take a break, baby. Just take a break and don't worry. And so I began communicating with Spirit on finding my purpose, which I received after being led to quiet myself and wait for it for a little while there. And I began growing spiritually more than ever before. I began spending more time with my family, having weekends with my kids instead of being stuck in a restaurant all weekend. I began healing my relationship with my mother that has been, rocky for many years. And I had made much more progress in all of these in this couple months that I was fired than ever. Okay, and I began writing again. Simultaneously, I began this channel which all aligns with my soul's purpose. And as I said earlier, my husband's career is taking off, but not yet paying off big yet. And I've been out of work. However, the more I grow spiritually and the more I walk in my purpose and have gratitude for it, the more streams of income we seem to be have coming in from different sources. Okay. And before I got fired, one of my main manifestations was to have passive income. How could I be open to receive that passive income if I'm working at a job that I hate and constantly worrying about money? It's funny because I quit worrying after I lost my job, and then money started to come. um, so just last week, our small stock investments, and I mean small, very small, minuscule, hit record highs. And we'd only had it sitting there for probably a couple months. And it was just when I chose to be grateful, for losing that job, rather than and being in fear of being without, or in anger with my boss, that things begin to accelerate and manifest. So this brings me to another download I received while I was thinking about all this. There's one example I want to give you that we can look at in the physical world, okay, about how this all works. So there's a form of energy called direct current, and a form called alternating current. Now your car has a battery, as you all know, which is its direct source of power, right? Okay, well, you all know that it uses the alternating current that I just mentioned, to take the energy from the battery, basically recharge it by spinning, and send it back to the battery. And then the battery sends it back to the alternator, and it goes back and forth, on and on, right? Like this. That's what keeps your car running. Because you all know that when the alternator gives out, the battery will keep dying. That's usually the first thing you think of when the battery keeps dying is, oh, the alternator must be out. Okay, and that's because it cannot keep recharging itself. Now, let me explain how this applies to manifesting compared to sheer action. Okay, let's think of action as direct current, the battery. Okay, you go to your job, you work X amount of hours to receive X amount of dollars for the amount of the hours you worked, right? And when the money runs out, you go and you do the same thing again, and you receive the same amount of money. Okay, so a direct action to achieve a direct result. That's direct current in this situation. Now, but if you lose the job, the money stops, right? Because it's dependent on that direct action. My point is that it's only so far that action alone will take you. Okay, it's all about your energy. When you are manifesting and when you are working with energetic alchemy, converting energy, okay, you choose the energy you put out into the universe, and it comes right back to you, and you send more of the same out, and it comes right back to you, like that alternator. Okay, so when you're working off of your energy rather than depending on your sheer action, guess what happens? Your energy causes you to make inspired action, and then that brings you more abundance, and then it goes back and forth whether you have that job or not. Now, I know it's hard to use mind over matter, but literally that is what we have to do when we're manifesting. Okay, now whether it's negative or positive, that's how this works. You have negative energy, it goes out, it comes back. Same thing with positive energy. Okay, but when you intentionally choose gratitude and stay in the energy of abundance, no matter what you see in front of you in this outside world, abundance is what you're going to receive, because remember, it starts from the inside out. So whatever you have going on inside, it's going to show up out here. If you work a job you hate and you continue to be bitter about it and you stay, then you just end up staying at the job because you need the money, rather than going, having abundance inside and trusting and going to find a different job that you really like. Okay, the more you practice controlling your thoughts, as I said earlier, and your energy and your emotions, and the more you see it manifest into existence and become tangible, the more your confidence in your manifestation ability is going to grow. Okay, and then it just becomes a never-ending dance between you and the universe, because we're co-creators. Okay, remember, we must get happy first, and become abundant internally, and it has no choice but to show up on the outside. Okay, because all of us has gone through our life thinking, well, once I get that job, or once I get this house, or once I get this, or get there, then I'll be happy. But let me tell you, it does not work like that, because the outside world is simply a reflection of the inside, not the outside in. Okay. There's even Bible verses that touches on this stuff, and I'm not going to go into that today, but there are Bible verses that tell us how to manifest and create our own world. Let me just say the Bible has been largely misinterpreted in some ways. But that's for another time. But I am definitely going to be making a video on the decoding of the Bible, well, a few of the verses that I would like to share with you, and you will definitely want to watch that. But I think that you guys understand what I mean about manifesting, how it starts from the inside out. Okay, so when you're doing your rituals, and when you're doing your scripting, your vision boards, all of that stuff, just keep what I've said in this video in mind, okay? Because your intention is the most important part of any of that work that you are doing to manifest, okay? So, that's all I have for you guys today. Remember, you can always email me with any questions you have. My email is always going to be in the description box below. You can also email me for a free tarot card reading if you are interested in that. And you can comment any questions that you might have, or you can also comment any of your manifestation tips or experiences. All right, guys. See you at the next stop. Bye, soul travelers.